Hello everyone, I am Sushmita, MCom previous. Now I will be presenting the seminar topic on unstructured and participatory observation. In that first one, unstructured observation. Introduction. The unstructured observation is a diametrically opposite to the structured observation in its ideal typical formulation. The structured observation is characterized by a careful definition of units to be observed, information to be recorded, the selection of pertinent data for observation, and standardization of conditions of observation. So, unstructured observation is a diametrically opposite to the structured observation in its ideal typical formulation. Let's see the meaning of unstructured observation. Unstructured observation refers to a technique used in observation as device to collect primary market research data. So, unstructured observation is a technique used in observation to collect primary market research data. When observation is takes place without the predetermined plan and characteristics in advance, then termed as a unstructured observation. Examples of unstructured observation. This approach is best used to look at a single situation. For example, examining the experiences of elderly people admitted to care. In this situation, the researcher will take numerous field notes and may use tape or video recording. The unstructured observation represents ideally a contrasting situation in represent of all of these. That is, what should be observed. In highly structured studies, the well formulated research problem or hypothesis clearly point to what data will be most relevant. But in exploratory studies, the observer does not know in advance which aspects of the situation will prove relevant. Since unstructured observation is mostly used as an exploratory technique, the observer's understanding of the situation is likely to change as he goes along. Next, advantages of unstructured observation. In that first one, the observer should see who the participants are, how many they are, and how they are related to one another. So, here the observer should see the who the participants are, how many they are, and how they are related to one another. Second one is the observer should understand the settings. The observer should know in addition to its know over appearance the kinds of behavior it encourages, discourages or prevents and its social characteristics. Third one is the observer should also understand the purpose. So the observer should understand the purpose which has brought subject participant together, the nature of the purpose and how the goals of the participants are related. Fourth one is the observer must also understand what the participants do, how, with whom, and with what they do it. So here the observer also understand what the participant do, with whom, and with what they do it. Fifth one is more detailed result. Unstructured observation also helps in get a more detailed result. For example, the observer should know what stimulus initiated the behavior, what the goal is towards which the behavior is directed, what are the qualities of the behavior, and what are its consequences. So, it should be noted in a practical situation, it is often not possible to obtain enough clues to allow such a comprehensive description. Next is about disadvantages of unstructured observation. In that first one, greater risk. Yes, there may be a greater risk of observer bias. Second one is difficult to analyze. Products qualitative data which is more difficult to analyze. Next is about participatory observation. Meaning, the participant observation means watching the events or situation or activities from inside by taking part in the group to be observed. So, here the observer freely interacts with the other group members, participates in various activities of the group, acquires the way of life of the observed group or his own, and studies their behavior or other activities not as an outsider but by becoming a member of that group. Let's see the definition of participatory observation. Goode and Hart define participant observation as the procedure used when the investigator can go disguise himself as to be accepted as a member of the group. So, in this kind of observation, the observer has to stay as a member in group he wants to study. Participant observation is the process of entering a group of people with the shared identity to gain an understanding of their community. This is achieved by gaining knowledge and a deeper understanding of the actors, interaction, scene and events that takes place at the research site. Let's see the advantages of participatory observation. Observation of natural behavior. The natural behavior of the respondent can be studied by participant observation. So, here the natural behavior of the respondent can be studied by participant observation. That is, when a group knows that they are going to be observed by a stranger, they feel conscious, uncomfortable, and therefore neutrality in their behavior and activity is lost. But in case of the participant observation, the respondents do not know that they are being understood, so their behavior is not constrained by the conscious feeling of the being observed by a stranger. Second one is closeness with the group. In participant observation, the observer has a very good rapport with the respondents. So here the he has a very close primary relationship with the group members. Because of this, he can participate in all the activities from a close angle and thus can better interpret the situation than a participant observer. Third one is studying the real character. Often, in order to study the actual behavior, the group research requires close participation and contact with the group members. So, in order to study the actual behavior, the group research requires close participation and contact with the group and also gain into the real character of such group. Fourth one is better understanding. In participant observation, the observer can better understand the feelings of the respondents than an outsider. For example, a person who is actually living in a slum area can realize the feelings and hardship of the slum dwellers in a better way than an outsider. Fifth one is participation provides opportunity to learn more about an event. The chief advantage of participant observation that in it the observer gets an opportunity to interact with the group regarding various activities of them. So, here the observer gets an opportunity to interact with the group regarding various activities of them. He can thus learn the significance of these activities that are actually not open for observation. Next is about disadvantages of the participatory observation. In that first one, lack of objectivity. By becoming members of group and very closely in it, the observer may lose his objectivity because his emotional and sentimental association with the group kills his impartiality and unbiased analysis. Second one is often close association brings biased interpretation. Because of his close association and emotional participation with the group members, the researcher creates a special position for himself in the group. Because of his close association and emotional participation with the group, the members of researcher create special position for himself in that group. He may be influenced or pleased by this and begins to support them blindly. Next one is misuse important issues due to familiarity. Due to much familiarity, Many crucial events appear to the participant observer as of little or no significance. Therefore, he misuses many of the important issues. Due to much familiarity, many crucial events appear to the participant observer of little or no significance. Therefore, he misuses many of the important issues, but a stranger pays much attention even to small things as this appears new to him. Next one is limited range of experience. In participant observation, the observer is confines himself to a particular group. So here his experience becomes very deep, but the range of his experience becomes very limited. Involvement in groupism. The active participation and proximity of the observer with the group may involve him in factionalism. Active participation and proximity of the observer with the group may involve him in quarrels, so it destroys the very purpose of the research, and researcher finds it is very difficult to get proper information from the group. Last one is limits of participant observation. There are certain situations in which the participant observation is not possible. Because of certain situation in which the participant observation is not possible to observe criminals or prisoners. Finally, I would like to conclude this. Participant observation is an effective tool in collecting anthropological data, since this allows researchers to immerse in natural settings. This helps researchers collect more reliable data as participants are observed in actual settings. Although unstructured observation produce more in-depth results as they are much harder to analyze and there is a greater risk of observer bias. Thank you.